is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to OA Week 2021. The broadcast will be starting shortly with everyone. Hello everyone and welcome to OA Week 2021. We'll start in a few minutes. We'll just wait for a couple more people to join. Hello everyone, welcome to OA Week 2021. My name is Kerri Dobson and I am a CNAUS Marine Policy Fellow with NOAA's Ocean Acidification Program. And in this role, I sit on the Secretariat of GOA-ON, the Global Ocean Acidification Observing Network. And as such, I am the coordinator of the Peer2Peer mentorship program that we will be talking about today. OA Week is presented by 4 sponsoring organizations. Firstly, GOA-ON, the Global Ocean Acidification Observing Network. Secondly, NOAA, the United States National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And third, the IAEA, OA-ICC, the International Atomic Energy Agency, Ocean Acidification International Coordination Center. And last but not least, the IOC-UNESCO, which is the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. For those of you who are new to GOA-ON, GOA-ON is a collaborative international network designed to address 3 high-level goals. Firstly, to improve our understanding of global ocean acidification conditions. Secondly, to improve our understanding of ecosystem response to ocean acidification. And thirdly, to acquire and exchange data and knowledge necessary to optimize modeling for ocean acidification and its impacts. GOA-ON was established in 2012 with just a handful of members. Since then, GOA-ON has grown immensely and now has over 900 members from 105 countries. You can join GOA-ON today by visiting GOA-ON.org. Mike will probably drop that in the chat for you all. GOA-ON also consists of 8 regional hubs which span across continents and oceanographic regions, and each hub is running a different session this week during OA Week. We'll be hearing from most of them throughout the week. I think all of them actually are going to have a session. GOA-ON is an active organization that offers numerous resources to its members. We inform policy at the international level and are involved with initiatives such as the Commonwealth Blue Charter and the Community of Ocean Action on Ocean Acidification. GOA-ON supports the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 14, known as Life Below Water. And specifically, GOA-ON has helped develop the methodology for SDG Indicator 14.3.1, providing guidance on how to measure ocean acidity and how to report the collected information. The data collected informs local and regional governments and the UN climate programs. GOA-ON also hosts a data portal which provides access and visualization to OA data and data synthesis products that are collected from around the world and from a wide range of resources, including moorings, research cruises, and fixed time series stations. We welcome all scientists to submit their OA observations to the portal. It's quick and easy and allows greater visibility for your work. Additionally, GOA-ON offers members scientific mentorship scholarships and hands-on training through our peer-to-peer program, which we will talk about today. If you are interested in joining the program as a mentor or mentee and are not yet part of the program, visit the peer-to-peer webpage and enter your information into the application form, or alternatively, email me at kerri.dobson@noaa.gov, and Mike will drop that into the chat as well. GOA-ON's newest resource is a webinar series which was established following last year's OA Week. We welcome your input on what topics you would like to hear about in future GOA-ON webinars, and if you have any ideas or would like to contribute to the webinar series as a presenter, please send an email to secretariat@goa-on.org. Over the next 10 years, GOA-ON intends to go even further. GOA-ON has become involved with the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, which will run from 2021 to 2030. The Ocean Decade will provide a common framework to ensure that ocean science can fully support countries to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. GOA-ON is proud to announce that our proposal, known as OARS, the Ocean Acidification Research for Sustainability, was recently endorsed as an official UN Ocean Decade program. The OARS program will build on GOA-ON's existing work to further develop OA science by enhancing capacity efforts, increasing observations of ocean chemistry changes, identifying the impacts on marine ecosystems, and providing decision makers with the necessary information for mitigating and adapting to OA. And there will be an OARS session on Thursday. If you take a look at the OA Week website, you can register to join that session there. And GOA-ON would also like to bring attention to the 5th International Symposium on the Ocean in a High CO2 World. This conference was initially scheduled for September 2020, and like many other events over the last 18 months, this has been postponed due to COVID-19. The symposium is now scheduled for 2022, and it will bring together researchers, decision makers, and other stakeholders to share cutting-edge ocean acidification science. We hope everyone listening today will visit the symposium website to learn more, and we invite everyone to stick around until the end of this webinar to see a promotional video from the symposium's steering committee. But without further ado, I will jump into telling you all more about the peer-to-peer mentorship program and sharing some tips on fostering successful mentorships. So as I said before, my name is Kerri Dobson, and I am the peer-to-peer coordinator. I am currently the Canals Marine Policy Fellow with the Ocean Acidification Program at NOAA. So GOA-ON established the peer-to-peer program to increase diversity of membership, support international collaboration, and develop capacity. GOA-ON created peer-to-peer as a scientific mentorship program that matches experienced researchers with those seeking training in a particular skill and provides professional guidance and technical support. Peer-to-peer is designed to build community among the entire GOA-ON cohort and to support new member groups. Mentors and mentees are encouraged to establish a close professional relationship with strong communication to identify new fields of joint research, additional funding possibilities, and a broad range of international collaborations that may otherwise not materialize. These professional relationships and collaborations allow both mentor and mentee to develop new skills, receive guidance and experience for future OA observation and research, and most importantly, to exchange knowledge. So just to bring you up to speed on where peer-to-peer is in 2021, we actually awarded 3 proposals in fiscal year 2020 and 2 proposals so far this year from the Ocean Foundation Scholarship Program. And we do actually have another deadline coming up on the 30th of September. And if you go to the peer-to-peer website, you will be able to find all the information on how to apply for that. We currently have 75 active pairs with 22 mentees in the process of being matched or rematched. If you are a mentee and have not currently been matched and are extremely keen to be matched as soon as possible with a mentor, please send me an email and I will move you to the top of the queue. We have also established the Ocean Acidification Information Exchange peer-to-peer network team. So please check your emails and make sure to set up a login with the OA-IE and jump into conversation with your other cohort in that platform. We will also be reviewing the scholarship and exploring options for funding non-travel related expenses in the times of COVID. So such as publication expenses, equipment, or subscriptions, and also to be able to cater to mentees who have not yet been successfully matched, for example. And we are also exploring new initiatives, such as ways to acknowledge mentors with the possibility of having a yearly award for the best mentor, which can be put forward by the mentees. So these are kind of all in the talks behind the scenes. But if you have any other ideas of ways that we can improve the peer-to-peer mentorship program for you, please reach out to me and let me know. So we currently have 166 mentees from 60 countries. So here you can see the spread of these mentees across the countries. And I've established the goal to reach more countries worldwide, especially from the Caribbean and the Middle East and Asia. We also have 94 mentors from 24 countries, with at least 56 of them matched with at least one mentee. As you can see, the skew is heavily towards mentors from the US. So my goal is to increase mentors, the number of mentors that we have from outside of the USA in order to increase diversity. I also hope to increase the diversity of mentor experience. I would like to get more social scientists and also more scientists with expertise in more specific areas such as coral reefs, which is one that is often asked for, and those working in policy. And finally, for the background region of work that the mentors work in, you can see that a lot of them work in the Pacific or the Atlantic, with a few working in the other regions. So I aim to increase the number of mentors specializing in polar and tropical regions. But like I said, if anyone has any suggestions or ideas on how to address these goals, please do get in touch and please share peer-to-peer as much as possible throughout your networks so that we can continue to grow. My role as peer-to-peer coordinator is to support each of you through your mentorships, so I'm always open to constructive feedback on how things can be done differently from those of you experiencing the program itself. And like I said earlier, if you have still not been matched with a mentor but are keen to be matched as soon as possible, please do email me and I should at least be able to give you an update, if not rush your matching through as quickly as possible. So now to jump into what you are all here for, the tips for fostering successful mentorships. As we jump into the nitty-gritty of this session, I should preface that I am by no means an expert in successful mentorships. My background is actually in coral biology, so unless you're a coral and an endosymbiont, which I could probably pair up perfectly, I'm definitely not an expert. But as I have become the peer-to-peer coordinator, I really enjoyed to do research into how to foster successful mentorships so that I can best help you all. And so I have done some background research myself, and I wanted to distill these down to share with you today. So the main thing that I've learned from my research is that mentorships are definitely a two-way street, and what you put into the relationship is what you get out. So on both the mentee and the mentor. And the main tips you can see here in this table are down on the left. So they are engage, communicate, have regular contact, be honest, participate, and support. They were the main overarching themes that I found in all of the research that I did. And so I tried to break this down into things that the mentee and the mentor can do. So when we're talking about engaging, the mentee, we encourage you to take initiative and follow up with the mentor that you have been matched with. Be proactive. When I email you and say that you have been matched with a mentor, you don't always have to wait for that mentor to respond to you first. Feel free to reach out to that mentor straight away. They have already agreed to be your mentor, so they won't be surprised to hear from you. And on the part of the mentor, please be responsive as possible. The mentee is probably extremely excited to be matched and to be working with you, and so any email from you that they receive will be greatly received. And the biggest one, as you can see, is to communicate. Once you have had that initial engagement on each part of the mentee and the mentor, make sure to establish regular contact. And I think this is something you will hear from some of the peer-to-peer pairs that we will talk to shortly. Regular contact is an extremely important aspect to this. And when you first establish your relationship, make sure to identify goals. So the mentee, please share with your mentor what your goals are, what you hope to get out of the mentorship. And on the part of the mentor, help set realistic expectations and goals. It may be that the mentee comes up with some really lofty goals that you don't think will be possible to achieve. So helping them kind of set realistic expectations and goals will help your relationship to be more successful. The mentee, be reliable and consistent. And this is also on the part of the mentor, as it will help to build trust between the two of you. The mentee, keep up with emails as much as possible. When you are a student or an early career scientist or someone new with learning a skill, making sure you keep up with emails from your mentor will be an important aspect of establishing and maintaining that regular contact. And while the mentor is normally really busy with all of the other things that they have going on in their life, making sure that they respond to emails as well will be an important aspect. For the mentee, be curious, ask questions, but make sure that when you are going to meetings with your mentor to be prepared and organized. The mentor should be encouraging communication and participation from you. And finally, for the mentee, be polite, courteous, and respectful of the mentor's time. You are probably one of many projects that the mentor is working on and with. And so being respectful of their time is really important and links back to making sure you're organized for meetings. If you go into the meeting not really knowing what you want to talk about, it's not going to look very good, and the mentor may become frustrated with that whole process. And for the mentor, answering questions where you're able to, but also pointing the mentee to resources when it may be slightly outside of your expertise. Which is also what I will be doing in the next peer-to-peer review, which I send out. I plan to be pointing you all to resources for successful mentorships. The third point is being honest. Let your mentor know if you don't understand something. You're in a learning process, and so you shouldn't be ashamed if you don't know something. And it may be that you and your mentor can learn something together. And for the mentor, be truthful but tactful in evaluations. Be aware of different cultural backgrounds as well. And participate. So for the mentee and the mentor, listen, observe, learn, and collaborate. It may be that the mentor should also be engaging in their own learning as they move forward through the relationship. And finally, support. So a mentee needs to understand that a mentor is only a guide and that they also need to cultivate independence throughout the relationship. The mentor can help create a solid plan of action, but they shouldn't be holding your hand the entire way. They should be helping you develop into your own independent scientist, not someone who has to be working with them all the time. And if it's helpful, I can share this table that I pulled together from my research with you all in the peer review as well. And some more overarching themes that I found from my research as well is that when you are thinking about joining mentorship program, think to commit to the long term and that you will be investing time in this. I think you'll hear from the pairs we're going to be talking to that they have had to do this. They've been building this mentorship relationship for a long time now. They've invested a lot of time into the relationship. But also be patient. Meaningful relationships take time to build. So even if I match you up with a mentor or a mentee, don't expect that in a week's time you're going to be ready to apply for the scholarship program for the pair, and that everything's going to be, you're going to have hit 2 out of your 5 goals. These relationships take time, and investing that time is the important thing. But also take the time to get to know each other and open up. Be ready to be slightly vulnerable with each other as you're learning each other's ways. And for the mentee especially, making sure that you thank your mentor and support your mentor can be a really good thing. I think a lot of times mentors are kind of expected to do the work as part of their job, but really they are taking the time to help you learn, and oftentimes are not being paid to do that. So thanking them for and showing your support is much appreciated from the mentor. And finally, knowing when it's time to move on. As all relationships, you may outgrow your mentor as your needs change over time. Your mentor would not be worried about that. They will know that you will possibly need to switch to a different mentor over time. You will not offend them if you tell them that you feel you need to change mentors. It will also free them up to become mentors to other people as well. But that's enough from me. At this time, I would like to introduce 3 mentor-mentee pairs that we have who have experienced the peer-to-peer program and are coming on today to be able to share their experiences with you. So they know a lot more about the peer-to-peer program and mentorships than I do. So firstly, we will hear from Natalie Monachi from the University of Alaska in Fairbanks, and Dr. Abraham Ekperusi from Nigeria Maritime University. After that, we'll hear from Dr. Martin Hernandez-Ayon from the Autonomous University of Baja California, and his mentee, Cesar Bernal from the Marine and Coastal Research Institute, Jose Benito Vives de Andres. And finally, Dr. Dennis Pierrot from NOAA's Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Laboratory with mentee Dr. Carla Berghoff from the National Institute for Fisheries Research and Development in Buenos Aires. So let me pass over the presentation to Natalie. Hopefully this has worked.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Kerri. It's been a real pleasure to be part of this program. I first met Dr. Abraham Ekperusi from the Nigerian Maritime University last June, so June 2020. And it's been a real pleasure to work with the peer-to-peer program and foster the collaboration and relationships through the GOA-ON network and work on all of the different seminars and workshops that are offered throughout the international program, the Ocean Acidification Africa Hub, and a bunch of the other resources that folks will be talking about this week. I lead the Ocean Acidification Research Center at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. And here we specialize in monitoring carbonate system around Alaska. So this is a subarctic and Arctic environment. I've been doing this for about 10 years, but before that, for 10 years, I had a geochemistry background, and I worked mainly in tropical systems, including mangrove ecosystems. So I was really excited to meet Dr. Abraham, who also has a geochemistry background, is getting into ocean acidification measurements, much like I started about 10 years ago, and really has an interest in making those observations in mangrove systems in Nigeria. And Dr. Abraham, would you like to take over?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, thank you
Yes.
very much, Kerri, and thank you very much, Natalie. Okay, Ibrahim Ekperusi. I work with the Nigerian Maritime University. It's in Delta State, Nigeria. And this mentorship, the relationship started in June, as highlighted by Natalie. For me, my background is on a persistent organic pollutant, my master's degree, and my doctorate was on heavy metals and petroleum hydrocarbons. You know, at the point when I was almost completing my doctorate, I was asking myself, okay, what's new since I'm in a maritime university? So that's when I took interest in ocean acidification and get to know GOA-ON and the Pier2Peer program. I hope that's okay for now. Natalie, you can pick up and continue. Thank you. Hello? Hello?
Hi, Abraham. Yep.
Okay. 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 Perhaps maybe she wants me to continue. Okay. In June of 2020, when I indicated interest for the mentorship program, Dr. Mike sent me, I think on the 8th of June, he sent me an email that congratulations, I've been paired with Dr. Natalie as my mentor. So after the email, 2 days later, I sent her an email, you know, introducing myself and my plan, why I want to enter into these discipline within marine science. I also attached my CV to that email as well, outlining my interest and all that. So I think she replied. One thing I like about her is that anytime I send a mail, she doesn't hesitate to reply. That was the first reply I got, because at first I was kind of skeptical. Okay, is she going to take time to reply and all that? You know, before I know it, I got a feedback from her. She was very excited about it too, and that's how the relationship started. So it has been very, very wonderful. I'm very glad that as my mentor, she has been holding my hands and perhaps that of my team in navigating this new field of research that we were diving into. Natalie, do you want to continue, or should I go ahead?
Go ahead. I'll join in at the end. Okay.
As part of the relationship, as we move forward, she sent me a link for the summer school on oceanography that is holding in Ghana for the 2020 school. So I registered and I joined the summer school program. And also some people from, I think about 5 of my colleagues from my university also joined the summer school. And towards the end of the school, you know, we were asked to form teams if we're interested in further coaching and stuff like that. So that's how we created the Nigerian Maritime University OA team. And we had some basic training from the Ocean Foundation. And when I got into the mentorship with Natalie and we're advancing, and I told her that, okay, that it would be good if I introduce her to my team, because we're all coming from different backgrounds in environmental sciences and we are new to ocean acidification. I know most of them, they've not joined GOA-ON. So I felt that, okay, it would be a nice experience for them also to learn from what I'm learning. So I spoke with her and she agreed, why not, that's okay. So as you can see from the picture there, we had a meeting with the entire team, you know, everybody introduced themselves, and you know, from there, we'll pick it from there. At some point, she gave us a laptop of our facility, and it was very, very interesting. She was showing us through the lab, demonstrating some of the tools and equipment they use for chemical analysis for ocean acidification. And, you know, in fact, I could recall the first time we had a meeting, I think one of the very first meeting the team had with her. It was supposed to be 1 hour and it was almost extending to 2 or 3 hours because we were just asking questions and she was just bringing the answers live and direct. At the end of the day, everybody felt really relieved that so many issues that have been bothering them, you know, she's been able to provide a lot of answers. And from there, we're able to plan a whole series of meetings before we not decide at some point. Then we're hoping that we'll get the bus kits, but from GOA-ON, but we weren't able to get it. So after a lot of plannings, as you can see from the pictures and meetings, we decided to hit the coastal area and do some form of monitoring. Though we don't have the tools that is required, you know, but we made an attempt. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, we made an attempt to do some measurements. As you can see, these are members of the team. We got the university boat, we funded the fueling and some other logistics of the trip, and we head into the coastal region of the Atlantic Ocean. So we established some monitoring stations. We used some digital devices to collect water sample and do some chemical measurement. And also, we also collected samples in bottle following all the requirements in the GOA-ON website with the hope to take it to lab for spectrophotometry measurements. And unfortunately, we couldn't continue because we had issue of COVID and the university shut down, and we couldn't pick up from there. But so far, we are still doing our best to continue that that effort. Since we're using a personal funding, it has not been really too encouraging, but we've been doing our best to push up. Also, we're making effort to acquire an equipment, the Duro Sunday equipment. We got to know about that in the Ocean Information Exchange website, where Brian Wilson made an announcement that he will be willing to give to Duro Sunday units for any team or any individual that is interested. So we wrote to him, and we'll be making efforts to get these Duro units to augment our chemical monitoring exercise within the coastal region. So I think so far we've had some challenges and some setbacks in our efforts to really do our best in understanding ocean acidification within the coastal region in the Niger Delta. But notwithstanding, we're trying to press and you know, keep the measurement going. Based on the fact that my mentor has done a lot, you know, I don't want to kind of disappoint her in not achieving what I set out to do when I started this mentorship program. So with the right support to the team and myself, we are very, very confident that, you know, we'll do continuous discrete measurements and perhaps move from there to other aspects of ocean acidification issues. So I think let me stop for now, and Natalie can see some other things before we go to question and answer sections. Thank you.
Thanks, Abraham. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure working with you and seeing the journey that that you've taken and the whole team also at Nigeria Maritime University and to getting measurements rolling, and we're all, you know, going through the same process, having fieldwork canceled because of COVID, and we all have problems with shipping delays, and so we kind of all experience these obstacles together.
Yeah, that's true.
That's awesome. That's so great. Thank you for sharing. And I'm excited to hear how it goes with the jurors, the SAMs. So that's going to be really cool to hear about. All right.
Thank you.
Let me see. Now I'm going to pass it over to Martin.
All right.
Make Martin there.
Yes,
all right,
you,
over to you, Martin.
You can see now on my screen, right? Excellent.
You know, I was talking with Kerri before the presentation because I was talking about I was analyzing the word of success, but in reality it's quite touching the topics that she was talking about before this presentation from my colleagues. Because in reality, as a mentor, we feel proud and we feel the mentees get the success when they are able to get the goals. And Kerri was talking about the different situations and communication that I was kind of touching this presentation, and I'm going to finish with one example. Because in my experience, I have 4 students, or 4 mentees, in reality is the word. One from Colombia, Alberto Acosta and Crispin. There are 2 in reality from the Universidad Javeriana. We just started the last summer. Lester Fonseca, well, let me tell you something. Alberto and Crispin, they are researchers in reality. And then the focus is more the advice, my place, because I know the goals is related with the help and the monitoring and a program they have already running in a coral reef. And we are talking about this is the way I communicate about how the planning, how they are able to get the goals for the projects, the instrumentation, the analysis, the future analysis of the data. And then our communication is more related with that. And we just started this the last summer. Lester Fonseca is another case, different situation, because he's a bachelor student. And then our emails we used to be to send publication, to offer advice, to offer recommendation like tutor. It's kind of like that, because in reality he just starting with the bachelor degree, but he's very active student related with the ocean acidification. Then very separate situation. We have Karen Patricia is a student also, not a student, is a technician from Invermar, but he's planning to do her master degree. And then in his master degree, he's planning maybe to come to Ensenada. We are talking about that. It's a different situation, because my advice is to offer the different windows based on what she wants to learn about the field, the ocean ecosystem. And this is the kind of email that we have in reality with Karen. And this communication, we will be able to go as far as we can to follow her decision about is keep working in the master degree or not. This is my guess about that. And then I want to go a little farther related with the Cesar Bernal, because in reality Cesar Bernal, we are be working for the last 5 years. We will see that. And I want to cherish the kind of communication we have. But let me tell you some general ideas about that, because Cesar is part of the, he's a chemist. He's a head of the Marine Environmental Quality Laboratory in Invermar in Colombia. But we are, as far as he really are planning to go, because also the combination of the chemist and his interest and to set up a lab in Colombia. And you will see, I really don't know how far we can go, because there are many plans with this guy about that. But I was like talk about a commercial about this, because share my experience about the end of the workshop we have related with the oceanification with not only me, Andrew, many other guys, Sam Dupont, Lisa Robbins. We were able to work with different students from Latin America, and these guys finished, and we are so happy and very proud when we can see when they go back to their own countries, they are able, some of them, to set up a instrument they need, or they are able to set up a lab they need, or they are now a researcher in different institutions. But when the peer-to-peer appear is dressing all these guys who finished all this workshop, but now peer-to-peer is also working with new generations. And then we have a generation of students who already know what the OA means and the techniques, but also it's starting with zero, and then we have different spectrum of people of interest. But Cesar finished several of these topics related with this subject of oceanification. What we have here is a line time of the last 5 years we are working together. And you will see here from the last 5 years, it was interesting because he already prepared Cesar this slides, nice slide, because he reminded me to 2016 when he was able to took the marine geochemistry and carbon chemistry class we offer in Invermar. Was the moment that I met Cesar. After that, he was able to take a couple of workshops in the same year. We feel that his interest increased about this total CO2 and ocean acidification, but also in his lab, because he's the manager, of the head of the lab, he was able to start to be working with the institution and to get instrumentations, to get a nice instrumentation related with the DIC, Miranda, for example, and to be able to set up the instrumentation. But you can see in this line time, Pier2Peer just started at the end of these great harrows. Because after that, we have another workshop, but also the transformation of Cesar, that's to be zero in the OA's environment, system, processes, chemistry. He started to become an organizer of the training in Invermar to offer his lab with all the people, nice people from Invermar, and to be able to share the instrumentation and organizer to other meetings there. After that, Cesar was working together with a guy from Cuba, Carlos, who also finished in the workshop in Ensenada, and they are doing a very good job with other people from the La Boca together in this remarkable project. When they are able to get instrumentation, they have goals of protocols, and they are working so hard in the Caribbean side. Another carbonate classes related with the people of Remarco and people from Latin America. Then you can see here the transformation of to be a student and now to be become an expert in measurements, organizers of the classes. And we can follow to 2020 when we have, he was working together with the Ocean Foundation when he got more instrumentations, and we were able to work with him and the Ocean Foundation together to offer more trainings, workshops. And there are plans for this year too. But this is my comment about that. 5 years, but we can go as far as this mentee need by communication, and we feel relatively proud because the success is in reality his momentum and the ambition, to put this energy to a target that he really wants to go. And we're talking about the goals of any person. But we don't finish here because in reality, this is why I mentioned that I don't know where we can go. We can go further about that because in reality he participates also in analytical training and intercalibration, and he got a very nice results. You can see the green arrow for alkalinity and also for DIC. He's improving to getting more instrumentation, spectrophotometric for pH measurements, and also automatic system for alkalinity. And then Cesar and his team and Invermar they are very good job together with the director of the Invermar to have all the instrumentation thanks to the goals that Cesar needs and want to go. And when I say that I don't know how far we can go, is because now I can talk with Cesar very easily to know of the situation of the Latin America. He's also part of the committee of the Remarco. They know together as a team what the different countries needs about the capability, and they know he know which country need more help. In Latin America, because he's doing very nice job with Carlos and all the guys involved in the committee for the Remarco. When they are getting instruments, they need protocols, they need to know uncertainties, they need to know to be more familiar with the accuracy validations. They need to know exactly more help about the how and when to set up time series. And this is, we can go farther. We can go farther with the people like Cesar, because he's in reality becoming very close to be now. He's a mentor, because he told me just a couple of weeks that people from another institution in Colombia was planning to be with him, and he was planning to offer to help in how to measure and to measure samples and to teach people. And then I'm so proud. I'm so proud, but I can see the success about Cesar. Thank you. I forgot to tell you that we mixed two presentations from Cesar together with my presentation, because he asked me to just to share it, because the language challenge, but it's another challenge for Cesar too. Thank you, Kerri.
Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And if anyone wants to ask questions in Spanish that he might be able to respond to, that's also welcome. Okay, I will pass now to Carla. I will make Carla the presenter. You're on mute at the moment, Carla. I'm not sure.
Now, do you hear me? Okay,
yes,
do you hear me
now?
Okay, let me know if you see my screen.
You see the screen, you just want to put it in. Yep, perfect, there you go, got it.
Okay.
Over to you.
Cool, so I will the one talking the half of the presentation, and then I will allow Dennis to continue. So at the end of 2017, INIDEP, which is the place that I work, incorporated to its fleet an RV, the Victor Angelescu, equipment with a General Oceanic PCO2 underway system to monitor CO2 fugacity and along the Argentine Atlantic sector. And the GO system is the gold standard and capable to generate really quality data, but it's quite complicated to operate it properly. And we were like in the urgent needs of getting training and the use of the PCO2 system. And Dennis, who has a really vast experience in investigating the CO2 dynamics, not only with the GEO system, but he was involved since the beginning of the technology transfer, the manual and everything. So luckily, that's how we were matched, thanks to Libby. And as soon as we were matched, we applied for funding, and we get the funding for in 2019, we had the funding, and we start our interaction dedicated to the setup, operation, and maintenance and troubleshooting of the GEO system. So Dennis came in 2018 to Argentina, where he trained me and other colleagues from INIDEP and the Naval Hydrographic Service in the technical use of the GEO system, and also how to process data. And during Dennis' visit, we had the luck to have a one-day test cruise to test the GEO. And also during that day and the following months, he conducted like an assessment of the GEO system. And he was so nice because he identified like several crucial issues that we have and indicated ways to correct them. And we implemented, and since then, the RV is collecting data in the Atlantic sector, where there's no been direct PCO2 measurements for almost 2 decades. So in 2019, I visited Dennis at NOAA for a practical training of the data processing and the quality control and data sharing of the data obtained at INIDEP. And the training was focused on the program that Dennis developed, which PCO2 says, to facilitate the uniformity of data reduction and also to how to easily submit the data to data centers. And then the pandemic started, but we continued during the 2020 and still we are doing some post-processing and submission training sessions. And as you see, it's like a plant growing and it's yielded fruits, even in this pandemic landscape. So we managed to send 5 quality control data sets to SOCAT. Now they are available in the 2021 version. And we are so thrilled of that. So this is like a small picture of the data that we already sent. And although initially the collaboration was focused on the PCO2 data, it naturally spread to other carbon system parameters, and he really helped us to expand INIDEP capacity to collect other carbon system parameters. And also when I visit Dennis at NOAA, I have the unbelievable opportunity to interact with Leticia Barbero, a colleague of Dennis, who transferred me like really key knowledge about instruments and best practices about the spectrophotometric determinations and total alkalinity titration. And this was particularly important because at that time I didn't have a titration system at INIDEP to measure that. And Dennis, as we say, we have like a MacGyver tax in the virtuality, and he also has an extensive like knowledge in total alkalinity, and he guided me to get my own titration system, what you see here. And it was like a MacGyver task because I needed to acquire the parts, and thanks for the Nano Pogo funded project, I acquired them. But I needed Dennis to provide me the software that he developed for it. And thanks to this, we were able to measure and implement this system and our time series EPA and Costal that INIDEP runs. But there's another extra bonus, and one of the outcomes associated with this peer-to-peer interaction is a manuscript interpreting novel PCO2 data, pH, and total alkalinity data in connection with biological oceanography in the Northern Argentine continental shelf in the Costal ecological time series that we ran. So the effort is not also a part of a collaboration with Dennis and Leticia Barbero, but also other members for my my group. So we will send this effort to submit it to a peer-reviewed journal. So now I'm going to leave to Dennis to continue.
Right. So since the subject of this series were a bit the tips for successful mentorship, we thought we'd talk a little bit about this and reflecting on our experience. I think we agree that the success we got was really mainly because there was a strong mutual interest, in our collaboration. Obviously, Carla was interested in the knowledge we could provide, but I was also interested in her, learning that knowledge, especially as lead of the PCO2 Ship of Opportunity program at AOML. This is, we realized that we cannot do the work that we want to do, which is measure the PCO2 surface of the global ocean alone, and we need the help for that. And so we offer our help voluntarily. This is part of our work, and so this was really right up my alley, and so I was very happy to do it. And of course, I realize not everybody can have a mentee like Carla, but so I was very lucky in that respect. But that mutual interest really helped us a lot, definitely. And so thank you also, Kerri, for matching us so perfectly in that. No, hold on, Carla. Keep the first. The second point is something that not many people want to talk about, and that's the amount of money, because we quickly realized that what we had to work with was not going to be sufficient, and so it was sufficient to start the interaction. But I think people have to realize that they will need to invest quite a bit of time and possibly funds also if they want to really this interaction to be to produce results and stuff like this. So I want to suggest maybe something for the peer-to-peer program. Of course, allocating more dollars is always an obvious solution, but how to do it is always a bit complicated and stuff. And so instead of maybe allocating more dollars right at the start, maybe propose a follow-up program where you could extend the collaboration a little bit later on. And I think that would go a long way into having successful mentor-mentees relationship. Yeah. Anyway, so this was the suggestion. Next slide, Carla, please. So as we said, we came a little bit short in money of all the things we wanted to do. Carla being very interested in everything. We expanded our collaboration very quickly, and so thank to the new university generosity, I guess we were able to really provide funds and stuff, which really did marvels for us. So we want to thank the University of Miami for that as well, along with the peer-to-peer program. Also, we're very grateful for the operation that you did. This collaboration was a great success, and of course we still keep collaborating, as Carla mentioned in the program. We started with the PCO2, but we expanded on the alkalinity and spec pH, and I think this is the goal of this interaction, as you showed in your slide, Kerri, that most of the mentors were in the United States. I think once we transfer the knowledge to other countries, hopefully these countries will become mentors as well, and then your bar graph will change a little bit. So yeah, this is the hope. But also the last point I wanted to make also on my part, in addition to the scientific interest that this program provided, also a personal interest, because I had never interacted with Argentinian research scientists, and I have to admit that this was a humbling experience. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Dennis. Like, he always rocks. He's amazing, and he's always helpful and always open. Like, I even call him when I was on board like this, but like, Dennis, I don't know how to do it, and he's always nice, and he always find the time to explain to me everything, and this is really important. The time he invested in me, I have no words to thank you, Dennis. I always say that, but I always, like, you're my idol, so thank you so much.
Your mind. I was happy to do it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your experiences as well. So I realized that I ran over a little bit in my time earlier, and we should have some time for a discussion now, but really we only have 1 minute. So I understand if people need to drop off, but if anyone has any questions for any of the panelists that we have with us today, feel free to turn your cameras back on as well, panelists. Yeah, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. We'll hang out for a few minutes and see if any come in. If you would like to ask questions more privately, feel free to email them to me. I'll drop my email in the chat as well. Happy to discuss more about peer-to-peer anytime. See if we get any questions. Okay. We do have a question that has come in. So the peer-to-peer scholarship is $5,000. Is that enough, or what is a better amount for a small project? And does anyone want to raise their hand and answer the question? So I know that Dennis, you said that. Yeah,
right.
sure.
So this was our experience, but because I guess it's very dependent upon the interaction of the mentor-mentees and what you plan to do and which countries are involved. Also, I mean, the United States is quite expensive. Also, so Miami especially. So the hotels, for example, is exorbitant. So these all comes into factors. I think $5,000 is a very good amount. I think you can do a small project with that, and and then get that start from there. I think is definitely sufficient to get started. Yes.
Anyone else?
I agree, but I think we don't have yet experience to be used. But I agree with Dennis, because I was thinking in a future visitor from Colombia to be here. And the limitation will be the hotel, for example. And then sometimes it's important to have the consideration of maybe the flexibility to depending on where country are trying to be, and then probably to be an adaptation about that.
Also, can I add something? In our case, like at the beginning, it was focused on an equipment that it was already there, but when expanded to other carbonate system measurements, which is I think mostly the case is not everybody has a PCO2, but most of them wants to measure total alkalinity or pH. You need to acquire some parts, and well, like I was lucky to have a small funding to help me on that, and Dennis provided me some software. Sometimes software and things are really expensive, so of course it depends on the pair, and for Dennis to come to to Argentina, it's not cheap also. So we managed to do it, but because we have an extra help, so it's good for start, as Dennis say, but we need it. It depends on every case.
Okay, thank you. We have another question that has come in. This is for the mentees. Do you feel ready to slowly move on as a mentor after this experience? So I don't know if any of you wanted to let Carla or Abraham.
Well, I do. I think eventually it would be the time. Like now, I'm working with another colleague, Lucia Ferra, who is also as a peer-to-peer member, and we are like in the transition, to train her. And then it's all like when we start the total alkalinity system, like Lucia and I were both, pulling all together with the help of Dennis. So I think eventually, when we finish that state and we are threading, I can make my time, of course, and I always can help my colleagues and my peer-to-peer colleagues. So yeah.
Thank you.
I probably want to talk by. Oh yes, go ahead. I want to mention something about Cesar after Abraham.
No. Go ahead, Martin.
Oh yes, I just because I told to everybody about the limitation of the English, but I know Cesar is already teaching people in Colombia from the Remarco, and this is why I will say that he's ready for that. Right? This is the case for Cesar.
Thank you, Martin. Abraham, do you have anything to add? I'm not sure. I think you're still there. Maybe we lost him. Oh yeah, it says he's offline. Okay. Let's see if we have any other questions.
Kerri, I just wanted to mention that just as Abraham as well formed the ocean acidification team at the Nigerian Maritime University. There's 6 members of that team, and I've met with them all, and they all have different areas of specialty and interest. Some are looking at geochemistry, some are looking at effects on different species, some are looking at benthic organisms, some are looking at, you know, mangroves. So there's a lot of variability and interest in that within that group, and they're all, you know, all sharing everything that they're learning together. So it's a pretty neat team to work with.
That's awesome. I think one more question. If you could pick one thing, like one tip to share for a successful mentorship, what would it be? That's a broad one. That's a hard one.
Well, can I say something? I love to talk. I think as to be open, like when you mentioned like to know your restrictions and know that you are not going to know everything, but to be persistent. I think the quality that you need to have is enthusiasm and to be open to your mentor, because maybe cultural differences, bureaucracies in each country, and restrictions, it's difficult to explain and to put like without explaining, you know. And I think that's key.
Thank you.
Yes, probably, Kerri, it's hard to answer this question, but I was thinking the position of a student when you select your advisor, right? Is you used to know the people, to feel that you can be open easily, that you can easily get communication, that you can open like it's very important the first appointment, the first meeting, because how far they can go is how you feel very comfortable since the beginning, right? And then this is important. A good start to be open and select the people. As a mentee, maybe they can have an appointment with one future mentor and to taste how they feel. And if they feel limited or they don't feel so good, it's better to say I want to have an appointment with another one, right? The communication with the start is a key for the future, in my opinion.
Yeah, that actually brings up a really good point that I should make too. If in the future I pair any mentees with mentors or vice versa, and you don't feel that gel, then please reach out to me and let me know again, and I can rematch you with someone else, because I agree, Martin. I think it's important that the gel is there, that the spark of the relationship is there, and that you feel comfortable with each other to be able to ask questions that you need to ask. Abraham, are you back? No, maybe not. I got excited. I thought I'd jump back and ask him the question, but maybe he's not there. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. I don't see any more questions in the box. So, and seeing as we are already 8 minutes over, I will thank you all very much for your time. Really, really, really appreciate you coming on to share your experiences with us all today. And if anyone has any more questions about the peer-to-peer program, please feel free to reach out to me and my email address. And don't forget, peer-to-peer mentors and mentees, the next deadline is the 30th of September. So make sure to get your applications in. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.